Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about an interesting company. So, three engineers walk out of Marvel in 2008, these three engineers. And then for the next 14 years, they stay in shadows. No products, no headline, and they just engineering on just one specific problem. But today, their company, they build a single cable that costs $500, and Amazon, Microsoft, and Google can build their AI data center without it. And their revenue tripled, like in last 12 months. That is Credo. That's today's topic. So, firstly, we have to understand why this company matter. So, to help you understand it, I'm going to introduce it. The first one is the AI data center is like a giant factory, and inside of that factory, they just don't. It's not just a collection of GPUs, right? So you in the AI data center, you have to fully use this GPU. So it's more like a tightly synchronized system, and where thousands of Nvidia's GPU they work together as one machine. So why? Because we have talked before in the last previous video. Because right now the modern AI models such as GPT and Claude, they are too large. They are too large for just one single GPU. So even you just generate a single token, it requires computation to be split across like multiple GPUs, and based on these GPUs, they have to constantly exchange the data in real time. So if that communication slows down or breaks a little bit, the entire system stalls. So this is why it's a main reason. And the real bottleneck isn't just compute, right? And the real important reason is how fast can you talk to each other for those GPU. So the question would be like, how do you get so many chips to talk that fast? So historically, in industrial, there are two options, and they both have problems. So the option one is copper. It's copper cable. It's really cheap. It is reliable, but the signal can only travel 2 or 3 meters, right? Just 2 or 3 meters. And the another option that is fiber optic. So it can send signal across an entire building with ease, but it was super expensive and it burned a lot of power and it broke a lot more over than the copper. So what nobody had to figure out was the middle ground, the space between 3 meters and 30 meters, which happens to be exactly the distance between two server racks sitting next to each other in data centers, right? So the copper couldn't reach it, and the fiber overpriced for it. So the empty space in the middle, that is where Credo built its business. So let's review the history of this company. So in 2008, Brennan, Lawrence Chan, and Job Lam, they left Marvel, and then they stopped this company. And Brennan is still the CEO today. And before this, he spent like 11 years at Marvel running their storage chip business. And these are the industrial vets, right? Not the first time founder chasing a Chan. And so overall, what tells me a lot about this thing is for the first decade, they barely sold any products, no splashy launch, no hype, and they spent the entire 10 years, the entire decades, they quietly perfecting the underlying signal technology. And after that, between 2018 and 2020, they made a call. The copper was hitting a physical ceiling. The fiber was too expensive for to solve the 3 meters and the 30 meters between the 3 meter and 30 meters problem. That is so expensive for the fiber, and nobody was filling the gap in the between. So they pivot the whole company for licensing technology to selling products and they invented their product called AEC. And after that, they go public in 2020. And today, their market cap is about like 33 billion, is about 15 times the return for the IPO investor. But what really sticks with me isn't like the number, is that the team, they built a wave before the wave exists, and they spent a lot of years doing that. And after that, we are going to talk about their main product, their core product right now, the ADC. So what is the AEC? CNBC has a nickname for it. It's the $500 purple cable. You can see this picture. So what is that? Imagine a regular copper cable, like the charging cable behind your TV. Now imagine someone split a tiny processing chip right inside the cable itself. Basically, an amplifier. So that is AEC. You can see this picture, right? A regular copper cable, and then you add a tiny chip inside. After that, that is AEC. And because the chip can actively process the signal as it flows through, the cable can carry data much further than the plain copper, right? So it's about it can carry about 7 meters, which is exactly the length of the full row of the server racks, right? And here is why that matters in numbers. So the AECs cost about half of what a fiber solution would cost for the same job, and you use about half of the power, and it fails some things like 1,000 times less often than fiber. So if you are Amazon, if you are Microsoft, and if you are building a AI data center with tens of thousands of GPUs inside it, just an easy math. You just buy their product. You just buy their cable, right? And here is the subtle part that create the real moat. The Amazon, the Microsoft, the Google, the XAI, these hyperscalers, they now have decide their rack layouts about Credo's cable, and there's not a small thing. So that is what I have taught in my channel. I would call it like a co-design problem. It's an ecosystem. That is not a small thing. Switching to another supplier will mean that you have to redesign the whole physical server architecture. You have to rewriting your firmware, and you have to refiguring your cooling. You have to redesign a lot of things. So the switching cost from a hyperscaler's perspective is enormous. And I think that is one of the moats they have. Not a pattern, that's a lot baked in the customer's own infrastructure. And also, beyond the AEC, Credo is building toward a full stack connectively platform. They started another two thing is called the SerDes and the retimer chips. So that is the signal layer to keep the data clean and synchronized across copper and fiber. Then can optical DSP, allowing them to enter fiber once distance exceeds the limits of copper. But the real shift is happening now. So they acquire a company called DAS Photonics, and they are moving deeper into the silicon photonics, right? The core technology inside next generation optical internet, right? The optical interconnects. There is no longer just about the participating in the fiber. It's about owning more of the optical stack. So the positioning involves the copper is their entry point, optical is the expansion, and the silicon in between ties everything's together. So now here is why this matter, and AEC sits at the intersection of the two worlds, right? The cable manufacturing, right? And the other part is the signal processing semiconductors, like what Broadcom and Marvell's do. And no one right now else can fully span both. And they're doing this right now. And after that, with the photonics moving in-house, they're extending that integration further from copper cable all the way into optical system, right? That's really great for them. And after that, we have to talk about the business itself. We have to show some numbers to you. So most recent reported quarter, their revenue came in for over like $400 million, up more than 200% year over year. A year earlier, the same quarter was just about 135 million, and their gross margin was like 68%. This kind of margin you usually only see at Nvidia level semiconductor company. Hey, Nvidia. And after that, their net income for the single quarter was $157 million. And over the trailing 12 months, their free cash flow, the cash left over after running the whole business and investing in its future, came in at $283 million. Hey bro, let me stress what the last number means. This is company funding its own expansion. No need to dilute shareholders through the secondary offering. No need to go to the debt market. That alone put this company in a totally different category from the most AI beneficiary names you will see hype on like Twitter or whatever. And the management has guided that the current quarter above 425 million, and for the next fiscal year, they are telling the market to expect more than 50% year-over-year growth. And every major customer, all of top ones, is raising their forecast at the same time. This isn't just a big client pulling the number up, it's the broadcast acceleration. And okay, some guys they see the trailing PE. Okay, that's 16. They would call it, okay, that's a bubble. But I think that's wrong, because a year ago their quarterly revenue was about like 135 million, but right now it was 407. And in 12 months, this company tripled in size. So when a business is changing shape that fast, judging it by last year's earning, that's not fair, right? So, used forward earning instead next year's expected profit, and the Credo lands somewhere between 35 times, and the company growing 50% with 68% gross margin. That's fair value. But the number that actually stopped me cold, that is, if you add a company's revenues growth and to its operating margin, basically it can show you how fast it's growing, plus how much it keeps. And most healthy chip company, that's 40. And those elite one, that's 100. And how about the peak of Nvidia? That's 180. But right now, wow, they're over 260. Wow, that's really crazy. So I don't think the trailing PE says it's too expensive. So after that, yeah, we have talked so much. They're a great thing. So right now we are going to talk about the risks. The risks I think we have to take seriously. As we said before, the first one is the Amazon concentration, and just one customer is about their 61% of revenue. I think that's way too high. If Amazon decided to switch supplier or slow their AI spending, so the stock might drop like a lot in a single day. So the one positive trend is that this number has been coming down. Amazon was like 86% a year ago. That's really insane. But we have to watch out this signal. And secondly, the Broadcom and the Marvel, they are these two massive competitors just announced they are entering the PCI retimer market that directly threaten their second growth leg, right? As we said before. And thirdly, it's the timing risk. Right now, they're up too much. They're like up like over 60% in just 30 days. So I think we have to watch out after their earnings, right? Or watch out any dip. Yeah. So my take here is like the perception gap is the real edge. So a lot of investors after this sees the trailing PE that is 60 and they just walk away. But underneath that, the number is a profitable, it's a bottlenecked business, and it's a really great company. So overall, I think it's a very strong competitive on my watch list, and I will give this company like a 3 to 5 years. So I will say I will put some precision if there's a dip. So that's it. That's today's video, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you can drop some comments about this company. See you in next video. Goodbye.